20 years ago today, right? 20 years ago, the attack in New York, in DC on the Pentagon, uh, the Twin Towers falling. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years, but I had an event recently that was really eye-opening. And I know we hear that, hey, the 20th anniversary is coming up, but we're given so much information now, and a lot of times in this world we're in now, you just don't stop and really process and think. Well, I had to process and think recently when my oldest Dom, a junior in high school, was given an assignment to talk to two people. He chose his mom and myself about 9/11, where we were, who we were with, how we were feeling, what happened the days after. And it was at that very moment when Dom reached out and asked me if I would participate. And I said, of course. I said, oh, yeah, you weren't around then. And it's crazy to think that anybody that's under 20 years old right now has not lived through 9/11. And we have to do our job to pass along the stories, the emotions, um, everything that we felt and we saw and we observed, or it's all going to go away and just be another page in their history book, as many of the past items in history that happened here in America are to us growing up. So I wanted to create this video for not only something to pass along to my boys and Kaylee, and also, down the road for my grandchildren, to share my story because it's a little unique. But, I wanted to get the word out so we can kind of all reflect as to what happened 20 years ago today. So my story briefly was my former life was I was a morning show co-host at Cat Country 98.1 in Providence, the Tad and Chris show. And we were just goofballs. We always were having fun. It was all about jokes, innocent, clean fun, dad joke stuff. Well, we were just about doing our last break of the day because we were off at 9:00. So we did our normal thing, promoting what's coming up. My buddy Jamie Harrington, 12 songs in a row coming up next, blah, 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 blah. And shortly after we hit off on the microphone, somebody came running in, I believe it was from the sales side, and sales office, and mentioned what was going on. And back then, we didn't have all these LED, big fancy TVs. It was this little, 20 years old then TV that was in the corner, because we were a radio station. So we dialed it in. I really don't even know if it was color or black and white, but we dialed it in, the old fashioned TV, and we sat there and we watched for a while and tried to process it all. And we were all friends back then anyway on the radio station. And we weren't on the air at that point. So after a while, I decided to leave and go home. Continue to watch the news, as many of us did, because there was a lot of fear we were feeling back then. Do we leave our homes? Is another attack coming? Are we safe going out of our homes? There was a lot going on that we didn't know. We were shook. But what I decided to do a couple hours later, I said, I can't just sit still. That's not who I am. I need to go do something. And I came up with this idea. So I went back to the radio station. And a few days prior, I had heard a song by Kenny Rogers. At this point, Kenny, God bless him, was past his prime. Tried to come out with a single. It was a beautiful song. I didn't see it getting a lot of radio play. It was called Beautiful, All That You Can Be. And that song, for some reason, as I was driving back to the radio station, popped into my head. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go into the production room, grab a bunch of audio clips from AP and everywhere else that we were getting of that morning, of people, eyewitnesses that saw what was going on that morning, the raw emotion that they were speaking. Take many of those clips, along with, at that time, President Bush had just come out and addressed the nation on what had happened. And I grabbed some of his speech and I threw that strategically all throughout this song from Kenny Rogers called Beautiful, All That You Can Be. And the reason I chose that song, and it triggers so many memories, it takes me right back immediately. And we played that song on the radio station for many of anniversaries on 9/11. It was one of those things that helped myself, and I know many, kind of get through and get past the sorrow and work through the emotions. But I also know it got a little recognition nationwide, and I believe it even got back to Kenny Rogers, which was special to me. To have a song like that help at a time where we all needed it. But anyway, the song, the reason I wanted to share it, and I'm going to play it in a second, is because it really takes me back to then. And to me, even now, 20 years later, it sets the scene with the vivid descriptions from the onlookers. And the reason I chose that song, and I think it fits so perfectly, is to me, the most emotion I was feeling, and there was many at the time: fear, anxiety, compassion, whatever it may be. I remember thinking how beautiful these people are. These first responders, the police officers, EMT, firefighters, even just the general public, that said, I'm going into this living hell, right? That's what it was. You see the fire truck that's going the other way, heading into the city. It's a famous photograph. Those that decided at a moment's notice, I'm going in there because it's my duty. I'm going to help my fellow man, help my fellow woman, help these children, that baby inside. That still resonates with me, how selfless you have to be and care for other humans and other people to risk your life and go into a living hell, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to come out. Sadly, many of them didn't. So this song is for those that risked their lives, made that decision selflessly to help others, and head into the flames and into the wreckage to try to save their fellow man, their fellow woman, and some of the children. You are beautiful. And to this day, I hear this, I well up, because they truly are. They can't be forgotten. And thank you for those of you that have sacrificed a family member. They are beautiful, and we'll never forget that.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
It was a big explosion and everything got dark, real dark, like snow. It was a terrible nightmare.
The World Trade Center is smoking and it's coming out of all sides, and no one's taking their eyes off this right now because we don't know what's going to happen next.
I looked out my window to see what was going on, and the Second World Trade Center just went into flames.
They're looking for survivors right now. They're looking for people who are in the building, and it is really a mess, and there's nothing left.
A star up in the sky will never know how lovely is the light that shines below. It's always there, it never fades without its magic light. How would we find our way? And you don't know how beautiful you are. If your eyes could see the love that's in your heart, then you would know what everybody sees, that beautiful is all that you could be.
When the first tower went down, there was dead silence. It was just a sad atmosphere, wondering, how many people could be there.
The streets are filled with people. It's a flood of people trying to get out of that area.
There are teams outside working to put the fires out, small fires and large fires, and looking for any survivors of the blast.
Most everyone is just concerned, trying to get to people they love, trying to let them know that they're okay while this is, a city of pandemonium.
Every resource that we have is attempting to rescue as many people as possible.
What did I feel or think was true? I can't remember before loving you. You've shown me all that love can be, as beautiful as you are. It still amazes me that you don't know how beautiful you are. If your eyes could see the love that's in your heart, then you is all that you could be.
I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. I mean, every day I look out my window from the New Jersey side and I see these twin towers, and they're not here.
Tonight I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they have failed. Our country is strong.